Noah, that's the printer. Noah, that's the printer. Come on, baby. You know better than that. Yes, you know better than that.
Hey crew, welcome to the Spiritual Social. Welcome to a twin flame collective energy reading. I'm really curious to check in and figure out what energies are available to the union between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Let's look at some of the challenges, some of the blessings, and how can we help those of you who are in higher order spiritual connections gain some clarity related to your counterpart. So let's dive straight in. I pre-shuffle these cards for ease. Okay, so let's see. Whoop, they are connected. They don't want to separate. First message. Okay, so we have here the enchanter, deception and trickery. The sleeper, cause and effect, clarity. Ideal romance, the hermaphrodite. The 10th house, the world. Whoa. So we have Saturn energy. Eros, love. Wow, okay. The 6 of arrows or the 6 of swords. The 4 of coins. Oh, sorry. We have one more tarot card left. The wisdom card. The wisdom card. I don't know why I pronounced it differently. There could be some speech problem here. One of you could be struggling to speak at the moment, may have some sort of throat problems, laryngitis, some sort of cold. Scheherazade and Shahryar, wisdom, the high priestess. Pisces energy. And then these are the two cards that were very eager to appear. We have the priest, the wild rose, and we have the citizen, the modern garden rose. So these are the astrological energies of Taurus and Libra. And then, last but never least, we have here the divine feminine energy, the goddess Hera, the wife of Zeus, and the energy of alliance. So we see the divine masculine in the energies of the enchanter, the priest, and Eros, while the divine feminine is in the energy of the sleeper, the citizen, and alliance. Okay, I'm going to try to arrange the cards so that you get to see them with more clarity. And in the middle, we see the ideal romance card. Okay, a couple of messages are already coming through. First of all, I am being guided to say that the divine masculine feels incredibly attracted towards the divine feminine at the moment, but he is using stealth and covert tactics to get in touch with her. Instead of being very direct and saying, look, it's me, I want to get to see you, I want to take you out, he may be creating fake profiles online and stalking her, like online stalking the divine feminine. He could be pretending he is some of her friends and sending her replies and messages on their behalf. There is a feeling here that this individual is wearing a mask and feels very comfortable behind this mask, believes that if he plays these tricks on her, he'll get her to feel more inspired to soften towards him, to soften towards the idea of love, become more receptive. In some way, I feel like the divine masculine has the perception of the divine feminine that she is angry on him. And thereby, instead of coming towards her directly with clear communication, he's hiding behind a lot of these tricks. And the problem here is a misunderstanding. I think that both of them idealize love to such an extent that it's hard for them to deal with the nitty-gritty details of communication, trusting one another, saying things that may not feel so comfortable, but they do represent what you honestly think. And it's fascinating to see how the divine masculine has such a different perception than what is actually going on with the divine feminine. The divine feminine feels really tired. She may be sleeping in more. There is a feeling that she's a little bit depressed, overwhelmed. And part of the reason why she is so depressed and overwhelmed is she's worried about the state of the world. She may be participating in elections. She could be worried about the outcome of certain political groups or economic decisions in her country. There is a feeling that she's struggling to combine rest with work. Work may have infiltrated all the corners of her life, and she doesn't know when she'll find time to self-care and figure out if she still knows who she is, if she still can be allowed to be in her body fully and love herself to the measure that she feels she deserves. She's very implicated in the social unrest around her. She wants to help people. She may consider adopting a pet, donating a sum of money to support educational causes or evacuation of refugee causes. There is a feeling here that she wants to participate in healing the world, in making thoughtful decisions that will produce some sort of positive change in her environment. And this, because of the fact that she's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, she doesn't really have time to spend so much thinking about the masculine. It's interesting because the world seems to carry a heavy load on both of the shoulders of our divine feminine and our divine masculine. However, it seems to weigh down more on her because I feel that with the citizen energy here, the divine feminine is really struggling to stomach the world's injustice. It's almost as if she's trying to fight against corruption, unfairness, and just oppression at any given level of human activity. There is also a shadow aspect of the divine feminine, because I see here that she is protected by the goddess Hera, and Hera was the wife of Zeus. She had a position of power that was relatively high in Mount Olympus, the home of the gods in ancient Greece. So the problem was that Hera was cheated many times by Zeus. Zeus would go and frolic with a lot of nymphs and would sire children with other goddesses. And most of the times, she would take out her anger not on her husband, who had this toxic behavior, but she would take out the anger on what were most of the time the victims of Zeus. Because he was also in the habit of kidnapping nymphs or forcing them to engage in lewd acts with him. So that's part of the reason why I didn't really like her as a goddess growing up and reading the tales of the gods and the tales of the heroes of ancient Greece, because there was this feeling of being a little bit of a projectionist, a coward. Instead of dealing with the problems in her marriage or kind of using her great power to do something to create positive change in her relationship to this powerful man, this powerful god, she would just basically take it out on the victims. So I think that the divine feminine is receiving some sort of warning sign from Hera that some of the relationships in her life may not be what appear to be. And the divine feminine needs to be very careful not to project her own emotions onto those that are weaker than she is at the moment. A lot of the divine feminines are being inspired by Hera to understand that they do have a lot of power, but they should not lord this power over minority groups or younger females or other individuals that may not actually have the proper resources to defend themselves. When the problem lies in the unfulfilled love between herself and the divine masculine, when in reality the divine feminine is angry and frustrated at the divine masculine, not at other people that could appear in the divine masculine's life to give him pleasure or give him the love that she's not able to give him. So there is a cautionary tale about being careful what you project on other individuals, and finally finding the courage to deal and face up to all of the issues in the current relationship. Deal with problems head on as they appear. Direct communication is advised because this direct communication is going to lead to love and a powerful alliance. Finding out the reasons why one of them wants to keep a mask on when interacting with the other, and finding out the reasons why one partner in this relationship feels so burdened by the weight of the world while the other one seems to be carefree and a little bit unconscious about the dire consequences of a lot of the political and economical decisions at the moment. Well, having an honest, open, vulnerable discussion about these issues, which stem from some unresolved emotional problems, is actually going to lead them towards the activation of the higher power of Hera and Eros. I also feel that the divine masculine at the moment is in a very erotic energy. There is a feeling of wanting to make love, wanting to be in this sweet lovemaking energy, but it is not actually being implemented in reality. I kind of have the feeling that divine masculines at the moment, although they feel this erotic tension rising inside of their bodies, they are not choosing to share it with like random people, which is a very strong fear of the divine feminine at the moment. I sit here and deal with the pain of the world while my divine masculine is frolicking with all sorts of unknown people. And I take my anger on those unknown people rather than directly confronting him about why is he ignoring me? Why is he not talking to me directly? So there is an element of cowardice here represented in the energy of the divine masculine as well. But what the divine masculine is doing is that he's taking this erotic love that he's not sharing with other people, this erotic love that is inspired by the growth and maturity of the divine feminine, and he is transforming it into a very strong spiritual link to her. It's almost like if he doesn't appear physically in front of the divine feminine in her life, he appears to her in all the other instances that he can in the world of spirit. For example, in her dreams, in her fantasies, in her desires, in her unconscious. He haunts her through the memories of the past. There is an energy of, I want to make you feel safe enough. We see here the red chakra color, the base chakra Muladhara, which is all about safety and feeling rooted in the world. So he is focused on this feeling of making the divine feminine first safely, making her feel safe, making her feel protected, then lowering her defenses and her anger, assuring her that no weird betrayals have been happening behind her back, so that we can finally lock this relationship in, so that I can express my erotic, passionate love for her. There is a lot of light and wisdom pouring into the divine masculine at the moment, almost like he feels he is chosen by the divine to step into the higher order role. We know from previous collective twin flame readings that for a very long period of time, the divine feminine was the spiritual one, the one that was leading the connection towards increased union, towards an increased metaphysical interaction. But at the moment, I feel like the tables are turning. The divine masculine is becoming the spiritual one in his role as the priest, the enchanter. He is thinking about how to employ magic in this situation to work for his benefit, while the divine feminine is coming with her feet a little bit on the ground because she feels like the ground, the earth, needs her. She's very pressured by time, the process of aging, by the fact that she sees the environment being destroyed. She wants to contribute. She wants to help Mother Earth. She wants to ease the suffering of Gaia. A really big energetic chapter has just concluded for our divine feminine and our divine masculine. And I do believe that this is connected to the transit of the planet Pluto, the planet of deep mind, body, and soul transformation, through the sign of Capricorn, a sign that is ruled by Saturn. So at the moment, as Pluto is bringing a lot of air back into the collective and a general feeling of tension, but also excitement, an excitement related to we are going to be bad and finally rebel against an establishment that has been suffocating us. As these processes are happening at large, I feel like the divine masculine and the divine feminine are finally going to allow each other to just be. They are finally equalizing. He is finally stepping into the spiritual task, and she is finally coming with her feet back on the ground. And this will create a really beautiful yin and yang tension between the two of them. A tension that existed in the past, but it wasn't somehow manifesting. Now, the Six of Arrows promises peaceful times between the two of them, while the Four of Coins talks about not wanting to let each other go. It is impossible to walk away from this connection. There is a deep knowing, an intuitive knowledge that both of them want to stay in this connection, even if one of them feels particularly threatened by the impulsiveness of the other one. As you know, in the story of Scheherazade and Shahryar was an incredibly impulsive, bloodthirsty ruler who would throw tantrums if he wouldn't get what he wanted. He went through the killing of many different women until he met the wise and spiritual Scheherazade, who took it upon herself to read him stories each night to calm him into falling asleep and to also try to survive, because if she told him a story that he didn't like, then he would most likely chop off her head. So in order to avoid bloodshed and violence, Scheherazade had to spiritually, carefully, meticulously put a lot of effort into the words that she was speaking so that she wouldn't, completely get this ticking time bomb of Shahryar to explode. So with carefulness, with patience, and by working deeply at the words that we say to each other, I feel that collectively, most of us who have this archetype of the divine masculine and the divine feminine activated within ourselves are going to reestablish bridges which were burned in the past by this supposedly gender war that is taking place between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. In the end, they both want to experience this ideal romance, and they understand finally that accepting the part in themselves which feels alien to them, which feels like the other, becoming the other means allowing each other to fall in love. I want to be with my divine masculine, and thereby I am putting efforts into accepting my masculine energy and really starting to move with it in the world by becoming more involved in politics, by defending the environment, by taking steps to put a lot of work and effort into creating the reality I want to see. While the divine masculine is more or less saying, I am accepting my feminine side, I am dealing with my emotions, I am understanding the spiritual nature of all things. I'm finally no longer making fun of astrology, tarot, or the world of the occult, but I choose to engage with it in a careful and thoughtful way. I am accepting my feminine energy, and thereby I am manifesting the love of my divine feminine. So accepting those parts in themselves which were previously unacceptable will allow both of them to combine this love, which is shown here in the body of a young hermaphrodite. As you both know, a hermaphrodite is an individual that has both male and female biological sex characteristics. So we're dealing here with the blending of other, or the blending of the otherness that both the divine masculine and the divine feminine were resisting against. They didn't want to be perceived as weird. They wanted to really hold on to their very powerful gender identification, but now they understand that all of this is some sort of BS that they need to overcome. And what they're doing is that they are uniting their powers, uniting their forces. They are both understanding that they have shadow sides that contain a lot of violence and the potential for destruction. But at the same time, they understand that with careful dialogue, by being considerate to each other's feelings and allowing each other to heal within the connection, they can actually come into union and manifest their ideal romance. It's a process that requires careful planning, step-by-step interacting with each other, and making thoughtful decisions along the way. It's not an impulsive, passionate love that sweeps you off your feet and leaves you breathless. There is potential for it to turn into this, but at the moment, both of them, I see them locked into this really wise, thoughtful period of preparation for the manifestation of a bridge in between the two of them. Something that unites them rather than separate them. Wow, God bless. I really hope that this comes by. And very soon, I hope that they will both have the strength and inner fortitude to go through these everyday challenges and find ways to bravely open up their heart and admit to their feelings. Communication is key in this process. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your love and support. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below and let me know, where do you find yourself in your twin flame journey? Feel free to comment as well whether you believe or not in twin flames and why or why not. This is a safe space. We encourage dialogue and we love to talk about everything occult and mysterious and magical and romantic. So yeah, I inspire you guys to contribute to the Spiritual Social because you guys are the heart of the Spiritual Social. I am just a guide, and it's my great pleasure and honor to guide you in this process. And I thank you once again for listening. I cannot wait to see you in my next reading. Until then, take wonderful care of your beautiful hearts.